Molweni, you guys. I trust that everyone is doing well today. Welcome back to another video. If you are new here and wondering who this person is, my name is Natasha, and this is basically a space where we share our experiences, we learn, and we grow. If you're watching from outside, please do come in and become a part of this beautiful family just by clicking that subscribe button below. And for all the returning family members, welcome back, fam. You know the house rules. You grab a drink of something and we enjoy. I just finished the drink I was having, so I'm going to be having water. And yeah. So today we have a guest on our channel. Hello, babe. Today we have a guest. Eat microphone. Oh, yo, Kosiam. It's gonna be a long video. Today we have a guest on the channel, guys. None other than my man. I don't know. Do you want to introduce yourself? Okay, just okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty big on YouTube, so I don't need to introduce myself.
Okay. So guys, today we are going to be
Can I give a shout out to my 18 YouTube channels?
okay. You can give a shout out.
Uh,
No problem. Be
do,
a shout out. Yeah, look.
do you have enough time to give a shout out to all of them?
Sana papa sakura nini.
Okay, it's fine. I won't give a shout out to them.
Anyways, so today we are going to be sharing. Okay, first of all, no, let's start this properly. First of all, we are finally getting into the series, guys, where I'm going to be sharing about our journey of moving from South Africa to the Netherlands. And I've decided to call this series From Mzansi to Dachi. So this is episode 1 of From Mzansi to Dachi. I told my partner about about the series name, and he was not too sure about it. But I think it's pretty cool and it's catchy and whatever. But anyways, so yeah, this is episode 1 of From Mzansi to Dachi, and the first episode is going to be us sharing how we immigrated from the Is it immigrated or immigrated? Sometimes they confuse me. Yes. Hello. She. Anybody home? Anyways, we're going to be sharing our journey of how we immigrated from South Africa to the Netherlands in 2023. Okay, so we're going to start off with a small introduction, right? So I decided to do this video because I have been in contact with quite a few ladies who have told me that they will be immigrating to the Netherlands, or some have already immigrated, right? And I know there's one lady that I spoke to who told me that she watched my relocation video, the video that I shared regarding our relocation from South Africa to the Netherlands. And she said she literally learned a lot from the channel, from that video, sorry. And there's a lot of things that I shared there that she didn't know that they needed to do. So she shared it with her husband. And she basically was saying thank you because I really helped her with like some stuff that I shared in that video. So I decided that being that I'm going to be doing this series, I think it would be fitting for me to start off by sharing how we immigrated from South Africa to the Netherlands.
Yeah, so basically, as I'm reading here, immigration is basically immigration, immigrate. What is it?
There's immigration and emigration. I want to read the definitions.
Immigration is basically to leave the place you're from, and immigration it's to go to the place, so it's where you're going. So we immigrated to the Netherlands.
Netherlands. Mhm.
We emigrated from South Africa.
Oh, so we emigrated from South Africa and we immigrated to the Netherlands.
Yeah,
Mm, okay.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, that's the definition, okay, basically.
You can say it. It's fine.
I can say what?
The definition.
Okay, so immigration is oh, to immigrate is usually used with to because immigrate to a new place. Emigrate is usually used with from because you emigrate from a place you already live. All right, so that's the definition.
Yeah, so we immigrated from South
From South
Africa
Africa and we
and
immigrated
immigrated
to the
in Netherlands.
Netherlands. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, thanks, babe. Okie dokes. So, we're going to start off with a bit of an introduction on our story. I'm not going to go into detail in Dabayokuti exactly what happened from point A to point Z because in my relocation vlog, I shared like the majority of the challenges we faced and I shared in detail, Payan. I basically shared the journey. This video is basically about educating you that this is what you need, this is the steps that you need to take, these are the things we needed to do when we were planning for our relocation. If you want to know more in detail about the challenges and whatever, or just want to know how the journey was, then you can go and watch that video. I'm going to link the video in the description box below. This is just a step by step guidance to let you know that, okay, this is what you're going to need to do first, second, and so forth, right? So we're going to start off with an introduction of how we actually moved to the Netherlands or what
Yeah.
made us move, right?
What made us move in terms of
Like
the
how,
reasons why we
yeah, like the
decided to
reason,
move?
yeah, like the reason, like how
Or
did we get here? Like what made us move to the Netherlands?
wow, that's a bit confusing.
No, it's not confusing. Like we didn't just decide to pack our bags, right? We moved here because you got a job here. That's what I mean.
Yeah, but also we had reasons. Maybe should we leave or should we not? So
Uh,
are we basing the question on
should-
that?
yeah,
Or
we're gonna sum it up, Young.
okay,
Yeah. So I don't know if Umundus wants to maybe share since he's the reason why we're here. But
I'm,
basically,
I'm not the reason why
you
we're
are
here.
the reason that we're here.
The pilot is the reason why we're here. I can't
So,
bring us here. The pilot needs to bring us here.
okay, so to cut a very long story short, guys. So what happened was, if you want to jump in, you just jump in. Eh? If maybe there's anything you want to say.
Should I jump or
Maybe instead of Stocho, please. Gee. So, Debucho, okay, well, I gave birth, right? Okay, let's start there. I gave birth on the 4th of October, 2022, right?
yeah?
And I think a few days later, ne, Debucho got approached on LinkedIn by a recruitment agent from the specific recruitment agency.
I didn't get approached
You what?
after you gave birth. I think I got approached before you gave birth,
Oh,
but
before.
I had the interview with the recruitment agency 2 days after you gave birth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So basically, you were approached before
Yeah, they
I
kind of
gave
like
birth,
sent me an email
an
or a
email,
message or something like that
or before I
to
give
give birth.
birth.
Yeah,
Then
then two
2 days
days
after I
after we
gave
had
birth,
interview. Yeah.
uh, you had an interview with them.
Yeah.
2 days after. So that's what happened. And then after the interview, I think you had another interview. I think you had three set of interviews, right? Or how did it go?
Yeah, I had three sets, but what happened is the first one was the recruitment agency, the second one was with the company that
Mm.
I'm working for. Then the third one was with the company that I'm working for. So yeah, basically the first one was with the recruitment agency. The
Mm.
second one was with the company that I'm working for. And the third one was also with the company that I'm working for.
Mm.
With the recruitment agency, it was the guys from the recruitment agency. Then with the first one with the company was with the manager and the HR.
Mm.
Then the second one
Interview
with
with a
the
company.
company
Mm.
was with the manager and the senior engineers, basically.
Sorry. Um, won't go into into details about the interview because we all know how interviews go, right? So went through the interviews and okay, before let's track back, right?
Mm.
When the process started, I think from the first interview, right? I think at first we didn't really take it seriously. Ne?
Yeah.
I think we were still like in denial, not in denial, like we were still in what do they call it? Like let's not believe it.
Well, also we were pretty occupied with
Mm,
having a newborn.
born, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and we were not really that interested in it, because
Mm,
we were not even planning. We just recently
had
bought
a
a house.
that's the other thing because we recently bought a house,
Yeah,
right? And I think we were only staying in our house for like a couple of months. We moved in May,
Yeah,
and our child was born
in
in
October.
October.
Yeah.
Or did we move in May the previous year?
No, we moved the same year.
The same year?
Yeah,
Really? Not in
yeah,
2021? Oh yeah, no, I'm
yeah,
lying. We were staying in Overbalkans in 2021.
yeah.
Yeah, so we moved in 2022 into our new place. We bought a new place. 2022 May we moved in, and then in October I gave birth. So you can imagine it was only literally like what? How many months? Was it 5 months
It
only?
was June,
June, July,
July,
August,
August, September,
September,
October,
October.
November. October, 5 months.
October.
Yeah.
So it was 5 months. We were staying in our new place for only 5 months when all of this happened, and I had just given birth, so we were so preoccupied with so many things because we were adjusting to this new place, and I think we had just finished furnishing our place fully
Yeah.
because obviously when we moved in we had everything but we wanted to start off afresh and get like proper stuff and whatever, so we had fully furnished our home. Our home was like homely and nice and warm, and then I gave birth, so we were occupied with a baby. So this whole relocation thing, we didn't really take it to heart or take it seriously. We thought it was just one of those things where we're being scammed, or it's just people taking chances with us, right?
Yeah.
So I remember we used to even make jokes about it, like we'd plan our lives, like, okay, when we move to the Netherlands, this is what we're gonna do, this is how we're gonna be or whatever. And we would watch like a lot of YouTube videos, like we were like on YouTube almost like every day, trying to see like how the life is in the Netherlands, how does it look? Come on, I would watch a lot of YouTubers who currently stay in the Netherlands, right? And then fast forward, he went through his second interview and third interview, right?
Yeah.
And then I think, how long was it that you got a response that you got
Ooh,
the job? Or you don't
I
remember?
don't remember, but it
Mm,
was still in November when I got my response that I got the job.
that you
The
got the
the
job.
third interview was quite interesting because remember, end of October, what happens in the Netherlands is that we change the time. So
Mm,
we go ahead by an hour or we
yeah,
go
and
behind
out
by an hour,
behind.
something like that.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we go. Yeah, by the way, the times change in the Netherlands.
Yeah. So I had planned my interview to be during my normal lunchtime,
uh,
and only I found out just a few minutes before the interview that my interview will happen an hour later.
uh,
So now I had to take a lunch an hour later, and then I did my interview, my third interview. I did it in the car.
in the car.
So it
Imagine.
was, yeah, I was parked at one of the KFC nearby, and I
uh,
was doing my interview in the car
in the
while at
car.
KFC. So it was
It's an
quite interesting.
interesting,
Yeah.
yeah. It was such an interesting journey, actually. Um, so he then got the job, right? And I think we were still, to be honest, Mna, personally, I still didn't believe what was happening. Like, first of all, I don't think I've ever imagined myself relocating like outside my continent. To be really honest,
Yeah.
like to be really, really honest, not that I like Angi not that like angizibonela intweni or I don't see big for myself, but it was just never a thing or a thought to go to okay. I want to relocate out of my continent, out of my country. Yes, relocation was part of the plan, maybe like to Cape Town or Johannesburg or Durban or somewhere else
Yeah.
within South Africa, but not outside South Africa or outside Africa. So I think it was still a thing of okay, is this really happening? Yeah, well, so he got the job, he signed
Mm.
the offer,
Yeah.
and we needed to start the process ke ngoku.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that was basically the introduction of how it actually happened, right? So the first thing that we're going to mention is that before
Maybe you
we.
can just
Mm.
also just note that I was actually approached on LinkedIn.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So so they saw my profile on LinkedIn. Usually what I do is that most of the things that I do, I usually do post them on LinkedIn.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So I've stopped doing it now because it's kind of like tricky now. There's a lot of clauses that I have to oblige to. So
Mm.
it's like kind of like what's happening in the music industry as well,
Yes. Like copyright and all of
copyrights
that.
and all
Yeah.
that.
Mm.
So I have to kind of like what I do for the company. I cannot just be posting it
About it
as my
is
work
your work. Yeah.
because it kind of like belongs to the company. But
Mm.
previously, I used to post a lot that was personal work and also that was also related to the company that I was working for in South Africa.
Yeah.
I used to post a lot about what I do and all that. So yeah, that's how I got approached. Basically, I was a designer, still
Mm.
am.
Mm.
Yeah. So yeah, so I was approached and people saw my work. I was actually
Mm.
approached due to what I post on LinkedIn.
On LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the first point, guys. He was posting his work and the things that he was doing on LinkedIn, right? So obviously that gave him a lot of exposure, and other companies got to see what he's doing, and that's basically what opened doors for him,
Yeah.
right?
Quite funny enough that I was approached by a company that one of the guys we have met in Netherlands actually works for.
Works for.
I was approached by it,
Oh
I
yeah.
think a year or 2 years before we moved
Yes.
here.
Yeah, I think
But I actually ignored that email.
he
I was
didn't
like,
take it
those
seriously.
guys are not serious.
He thought it was a scam.
Yeah, I'm like what are these guys? They asking me to for an interview or something like that. They're not even in South
In South
Africa, so
Africa,
I just
yeah.
ignored it. And funny enough is that one of the guys that works here,
Mm.
he got approached by that company as well. He took it and he actually like went for an interview and all that. A friend of his thought it was also a scam
A scam, yeah.
till he told him that, hey bro, I got approached by this
This
company.
company,
They actually telling me to come to the Netherlands. And he was like, yeah, I also got approached by this company.
mm,
They asking me to come to the Netherlands, but I thought it was a
it
scam.
was a
But because
scam.
you went for the interview and all that, I'm also gonna go for the interview. So
Mm.
both of them are now in the Netherlands.
And working for the
Yeah.
same company?
That's
Not
it.
the same, eh?
I'm not sure.
Mm.
Yeah.
I'm
But it
not sure.
was I think it was the recruitment company that approached them.
Mm. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, the recruitment
Yeah.
company. Yeah. So I think for anyone who gets approached by someone from a different continent telling you that there's a job offer and telling you about an opportunity, right,
Yeah.
that is abroad, your first instinct is like, how? Mm-mm. Something
Yeah.
is dodged here, Especially for me, being that I don't know if I ever told you that I was once also scammed.
Yeah.
I think I told you, ne? I think I was
Mhm.
in 2015 when I was
But were you
working.
scammed for money or
That's where it was going actually.
yeah.
So what happened was I got approached by this person. I'm not sure. I don't remember if it was also on LinkedIn or where. But I remember I was in my first corporate job after I graduated. Got approached by this person telling me about this job at a company called Brentag. Brentag. I think it was in the UK.
Yeah.
Researched about the company, so that the company is legit, it exists, and all of that. And this person was telling me about this opportunity that was within the logistics industry, and like he sold the whole job to me.
Yeah.
Like it looked so legit, guys. Like it was so legit until he asked me to send money
Yeah.
so that I don't know, to process the application or whatever. And obviously, I'm so I know that one thing I've learned is that you should never have to pay any money
Yeah.
for a job application, right? Once they ask you for money, you must just know it's a red flag. So I obviously never went through that, but I think the disappointment and the hurt I went through, like that person traumatized me. Like because I was so hopeful. I remember I told my family, told my friends, I was so excited that, "Oh, I'm gonna be moving abroad." And then Kandi Dololo. So
Yeah.
yeah, anyways, so when this opportunity came, we didn't really think much of it. We really like we didn't really focus much on it because we were like, maybe it's not true, maybe it's too good to be true or whatever. So once he got the offer, he signed it, and we saw, hey, these people are real.
Yeah.
Also, after he went through the interviews and we saw the people, and we're like, okay, this is actually real people and all of that. Then we realized, but okay, this is real. Like, this is it, right? So the first thing that we needed to do once we knew that, okay, this is real, we have to move, the first thing we needed to do regarding our relocation, right, to the Netherlands was that we needed to make sure that we had valid IDs and valid passports.
Mm.
That's the first step, right?
Yeah.
Before we could even apply for the visa.
Yeah.
So the first thing you need to make sure is that you have a valid ID and a valid passport. Regarding the passport, I should mention, when you go and apply for the passport, please make sure you concentrate and make sure you write down the details correctly. And don't be like us. Do not be like us, guys. So, quick short story. I've mentioned this in the vlog. Once again, if you want to know into detail what happened, you can go and watch that vlog. But I'm just going to quickly sum up. So, when we went to do our, was it
Passport.
all our passports, right? Because
No, I had a passport
oh yeah,
already.
he had a passport, right? That was still valid, right?
Yeah, because I did it in 2021.
In 2021, he
Yeah.
made it in 2021. It's almost as though you knew, yes,
Yeah.
because you were not making it to go anywhere, right?
Yeah, but I had a passport, it expired, so
So you
I
decided to
did
make
a
a new
new one.
one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So that's what happened with him. And I had a passport, right? Because I had previously traveled to Zambia and I needed a passport to travel to Zambia, but it had expired also.
Yeah.
So I had to make a new one. But the mistake we did, so when we were making the passports, right? We're making a passport for our son, right?
Yeah.
I made a mistake on the place of birth of Katebuch, right?
Yeah.
So I wrote Tebucho's place of birth as Port Elizabeth instead of Bloemfontein.
Yeah.
That affected the child's birth certificate, ne?
No.
Not the birth certificate, the passport only.
No, we did it. We did the mistake on the birth certificate.
We made the mistake on the oh yeah, the birth
Okay.
certificate, yeah,
Yeah. Which affected the passport.
which affected the passport. So what we did, I made a mistake when I was filling in the form for his birth certificate. Then that in turn passed over to the passport,
Yeah.
but then we didn't note it. We didn't take note of it when we got the birth certificate. So when we got it, we decided to do the passport. Passport came back. Both the passport and the birth certificate had an incorrect place of birth.
Yeah.
So now we had to go and redo both of them.
Yeah.
You, Sana, descended from Susana. Guys, we went through it. Yeah. Yeah, it was a lot, right?
Yeah.
Because first of all, they told us that it's going to take time and it needs to go to head office.
Yeah.
Yo,
Basically.
it was a tedious process, guys. We would.
And yeah, also when you redo the birth certificate, what happens is that the passport now becomes invalid.
Invalid, yeah.
And now what you need to do is that you need to do the birth certificate first, then get the birth certificate, then do the passport.
Yeah.
And when you're doing the birth certificate for the second time, is that you don't get it immediately. So when you do a birth certificate for the first time, you get it immediately.
Oh yeah.
But when you do it for the second time, you don't get it immediately. And because you did the fault, you have to pay for it.
Yeah, we had to pay double, guys.
Yeah.
So
and
we had
also the passport, you have to pay for it.
pay for it
you're
again.
the one who did the fault. Yeah.
I think the passport was 700, right?
600.
600.
Yeah.
And then we had to do it again. The birth certificate was like 70 rand at the Home Affairs. Then we had to do that again, right?
No, but it's free for the first time.
For the first time, yeah. So we had to redo it.
Yeah.
But guys, we went through the most. Yo, I remember I used to go to the Home Affairs, I think almost every week.
Yeah.
To go and check up. And guys, you know, is service delivery as a South Africa. Yo, Jehovah, Mudim. anyone who's from South Africa will tell you guys, Home Affairs, public hospitals, traffic department, anything that has to do with government. Yo, guys. So, anyways, that's what happened. And eventually, after I think a long process that was just so draining, we eventually got everything. And then the next step was now the visa application.
Yeah.
Right. So, with the visa application, I don't remember exactly all those documents and what they are and what their numbers are, because I remember the documents had numbers.
Yeah.
But basically, you have to sign a lot of paperwork for the visa. And it also depends on the type of relationship you have with whoever you're bringing with.
Yeah.
So, for example, if you're married, if you're not married, if you have kids, if you don't have kids, are you coming alone? Are you who you coming with, basically?
Yeah.
So, in our case, we're not married, right? So we were coming as an unmarried couple, but that has a child.
Yeah.
Right. So, regarding that, we needed, first of all, the first thing that you need, that they want actually, that we were actually shocked about, is that they always want your unabridged birth certificate. Yes.
Yeah.
So you should know that. So when you go and make a birth certificate, or when you do give them your birth certificate for the visa application, they're going to require an unabridged. Unabridged is the one that shows who you are, who your parents are,
Yeah.
right? Your parents' details and your details,
Yeah.
right? And that unabridged birth certificate needs to be Durco stamped.
Yeah.
For those of you who do not know what a Durco stamp is, I'm going to try and put a picture somewhere on the screen that shows what a Durco stamp is. And with that unabridged birth certificate, obviously you need to have your ID and your passport, right, for the application. The other thing that we needed to have was a LONI. A LONI is a letter of non-impediment,
Yeah.
a letter that basically states that we are not married and we are not married to anyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah, that proves that we are not married to anyone else. This is for, I think, should we want to get married
Yeah.
in
In
the
the Netherlands.
Netherlands.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It also needs to be Durco stamped, and
And Nobutas Bali.
oh yeah, to also prove that we're not running away from our previous marriages or
Yeah.
partners if we are married, right? Um, so just to give also a short story, right? We unfortunately did not know about the Durco stamping, right? So Debuko's recruitment company just literally gave us on the surface, guys, but okay, you need this, 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 and this, and this. They never actually went into detail. I think they mentioned it. Did they mention it? That we
Yeah.
needed to deco stamp
They
the
mention it,
documents.
but remember this: we don't usually do this in South Africa. As South
Mm,
Africans who are working and living in South Africa, only visiting other countries,
mm,
we don't usually use decro stamps, or we don't
mm,
usually make use of decro stamps, basically.
mm,
So we don't really know what are decro stamps. And
mm.
I was like, is it the stamp from Home Affairs in J, like just the stamp that they
Yeah,
have at
because we
Home
didn't
Affairs?
know what it was. We thought it was just a
Yeah,
stamp that you get maybe from
from Home
also like
Affairs.
Home Affairs or
Yeah.
somewhere. Mm,
So even the people at Home Affairs were like, "Yeah, that's the correct one. That stamp that you have, that's the correct one there. That's the one that they're looking for." And
mm.
now you submit those documents, and they tell you that no, no,
No,
this is not the stamp
stamp
that
that we
we're looking
want.
for.
Yo,
We're looking
guys,
for a stamp that only then they tell you that we're looking for a
this
stamp like
specific
stamp.
stamp.
It's
Mm,
like they expecting you to know
to
already
know
what type of stamp that they're looking
that
for,
they're
but
looking for.
you don't know because you're not used to these things. They
Mm,
know because they are recruiters, but they should they should put themselves in
in
your
your
shoes.
shoes,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
So,
yeah, it was yeah, that type
mm,
of struggle.
it was that type of struggle. And the unfortunate thing also is that the whole deco stamping takes, I think, 4 to 8 weeks,
Yeah.
and sometimes even more. So remember, first of all, we were delayed by the birth certificate fixing and the passport fixing. Then we thought, okay, we have all our documents. Once we got everything, we're ready to apply for this thing. Then the next thing, how? Now these things need to be Durco stamped. And then when we finally found out what the Durco stamp is and where we can do it, then they told us that it takes about 4 to 8 weeks. So that prolonged our process, right?
Yeah.
Um, but eventually we got all of that done. I know that I shared this again, once again, in the relocation vlog, but mine got delayed, my letter of non-impediment. So
Yeah.
Deboko's documents, I think you managed to apply for your visa
Yeah.
before we did.
Yeah, but anyways, I have to apply for my visa. Remember, yeah, it's a quite sad story, but it's reality that they're not looking for your family. They want
Yeah,
you. They don't
they're
want your
interested in
family.
you more than your family.
So
Yeah.
it anyways has to happen in that process whereby you have to apply for your visa as the person who's getting the job, as the person who has the job. You have to
Mm,
apply for your visa, and then you get sponsored by the company that you're working for. Then after you have gotten your visa, then you can apply for a family visa. And now you become, as the person who's getting the job, you become the sponsor
sponsor
to your
to
family.
your family
So your family cannot apply for the visa before
before
you
you
or at
apply.
the same time as you. They
Mm,
have to apply for the visa after you have received yours. So
And I
that's
think
the
also
delay.
you
Yeah.
also had to start work at a certain point of time.
Yeah, I had to start in March.
So
Yeah.
he needed to get his visa going and accepted and whatever,
Yeah.
approved or whatever it's called. So anyways, my loany got delayed, my letter of non-impediment got delayed. I went through so much drama. I'm not going to go into it. If you want to know, go and watch that video. But I went through so much drama. Ended up having to actually start emailing and calling, I think, the head of home affairs in Johannesburg, Pretoria. I won't mention the person's name here because obviously, for their privacy reasons. But in any case, I ended up having to start communicating with them, calling them constantly, emailing them. Like I used to call that person like they my friend. That's how bad it was. Desperate just for someone to do this letter of non-impediment for me and stamp it and sign it and send it back to me. But yeah, anyways, got it, and then our visa got applied for, me and my son's visa eventually, right?
Yeah.
um and then it was approved and we were set to go, right?
Yeah.
Another thing that I should mention on this point is that also the passport photos that you take need to
Yeah.
be a certain size.
Yeah. So
mm,
don't go to those dodgy areas and just take your passport photo and all that, It should it should be quite a good photo that you take, and like kind of like good size and all that. Yeah.
so you need to have specific photo size, right, for the visa documents because they will require like passport size pictures,
Yeah.
but they need to be a specific size. And if they are not that size, they don't accept them, right? So you need to make sure that you take note of that and make sure that you create or make passport pictures that are actually to the size that they require.
Yeah.
Yeah. The next point is that because we are not
But the people
married.
who are requiring it, just note that it's the embassy. It's
Oh
not
yeah,
Home Affairs
yeah.
that
It's
are
not Home
requiring
Affairs.
it.
It's the embassy. I can look
Yeah,
for the visa
for the
application.
visa. Yeah.
Yeah. So the next thing that we needed to do was we needed to create a proof of relationship, right?
Yeah.
Because we are not married, Tebuko needed to basically prove to his sponsors that him and I are in a legit relationship, and we are like basically legit, right? Because
Yeah.
sometimes people lie when they get jobs.
I don't think it's your sponsors.
Who is it for?
It's for the family visa.
For the family? Yeah,
Yeah.
but like, who are you trying to prove it to? Is it to the
To the
government? To
government.
the
Yeah.
government? Yeah.
For you,
Sorry.
so that you
You
get your
can.
visa.
Oh, okay.
So you have to prove. I think even if you are married, you have to prove that you guys have known each other or you guys are in a serious relationship.
Mm.
Because I mean, we can get married 2 days before that.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So I
Actually,
think you have to prove that you guys really are in a relationship.
relationship, like a serious
Yeah.
relationship, a
Because I
legit
mean,
relationship.
maybe I got the job and I decide, hey, can I take one person with,
Yeah, because people
And
do that, hey.
yeah, yeah,
Like you get a job abroad, and then the next thing, so serious.
yeah,
No, no, palesa. Go to palesa. You were not with her like for 5 years, and then the
yeah,
next thing, 2 days later, you guys are married. How? Just
yeah,
because you want to take her with you abroad, right? So we needed to create a proof of relationship that proves that we've been in a relationship for a long time. We're serious. Yo, guys, it was a struggle. Remember, ne, when Tebuko left, our son was like, I think, 5 months, ne, or four
Yeah,
months,
around there.
around there. And I was left basically alone in our home, right? And during that process, I was still preparing to, like, basically packing up,
Yeah,
selling the stuff that were left. Because when he left, there were still things that needed to be sold, right? So I was still packing up the last of the things, selling the last of the things, and I'm basically preparing, doing the last preparations. In the midst of that, there's a baby in the mix, right? Ngapha documents ezisoloko ziyafunwa and the proof of relationship. I remember, I think we did the proof of relationship like over like a very long period, ne? Like over like
mm,
weeks or something like that.
I wouldn't say over a long period, but
Like weeks though.
probably like two
2 weeks.
weeks or yeah,
Mm. And we would like sometimes even do like like PowerPoint, not PowerPoint, like Teams. We would
yeah,
Skype, we would be on Teams, we would WhatsApp video call. Yo, guys, we would do everything just so that we could finish it because we had to like basically draft a story, yeah, bo, of how we
yeah,
met and put pictures and proof of text messages and
yeah,
emails and e-flight tickets that we've taken together.
yeah. And also, you should note that they should have also timestamps.
Timestamps, yeah.
So we should show that this happened in 2030, this happened in 2001, this happened in
Yeah.
1996. Yeah, so
Mm.
you should prove all those information and all that.
Mm,
Yeah,
mm. So we had to create that and basically do like a proper timeline that flows of when we met, and everything we went through, and when I got pregnant and when I gave birth. Something that proves that we've been together through it all and for a long time, right?
yeah.
So that was the
So
other thing that we needed to
yeah,
do. Yeah, sorry, you were
yeah.
gonna say?
So ngithi yeah, just bayazazi indaba zabantu.
That's true, though.
Yeah, so
That's
they
true.
know a lot about your
Your
relationship
relationship.
because of those stories. Yeah,
Yeah, so that's the other thing. And then the other point is that we decided to also start swimming lessons, but this was I think we didn't calculate this one properly because we started the swimming lessons very late. It was closer to the time that you had to leave, if you remember. So
yeah.
we
We
never had like a
started.
lot of lessons.
I think we started end of January or something. Yeah,
Mm, mm. The swimming lessons are not really compulsory, right? But we would advise someone to take them,
yeah,
especially if you're going to come to the Netherlands. All this information that we're giving, guys, is based on our journey. Ne? We don't know about how it happens in other countries or other journeys, but this is based on our journey as a couple that is not married and that has a child and that moved to the Netherlands from South Africa, right? So we would advise someone to actually take swimming lessons, especially if you're going to come to the Netherlands,
yeah,
because the Netherlands, I think a certain part of the
yeah.
Netherlands is
A huge
below,
part of the
a huge
Netherlands,
part
yeah.
of the Netherlands is below
Sea
sea
level.
level.
Mm.
So should Kamugenje, Tendon, Hurricane Banban, Hurricane Ban,
Katrina.
bathanda uzinika amagama hurricane tonton yo
Yeah.
sana should kuqhamuka ku-hurricane naledi ka-hurricane Dineo, you should be able at least to just swim or whatever, so we
To
would
just float.
to just float at least.
Yeah.
So we would advise that you do go for swimming lessons if you can, like from the minute you find out zama ubane swimming lessons, yabo. So we only went for a few. Then unfortunately, we had to. Tebu had to leave, and then I couldn't go anymore because obviously I had to take care of the child. So yeah, that's the other point. And then the next point is regarding the visa appointment. Remember the one you had to go to in Cape Town?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So with the visa appointment, I think they gave Tebucho, or we both got an option of where we want to go for the visa appointment.
Yeah,
It was either Pretoria.
yeah, before you book the date, you
Mm,
have an option whether you go. Is it Pretoria?
yeah, because I went to the one in Pretoria. Remember,
Is it not
Pato took
Johannesburg?
me. No, it was Pretoria.
Okay.
Mm.
Yeah, then you have the option of they only have two embassies in South Africa. It's either in Cape Town or in
Pretoria. Oh yeah, the
Pretoria.
Dutch
Yeah,
embassy.
the Dutch embassy.
Mm.
So you can go to the one in Cape Town
Mm. So you choose. They give you an option of dates,
yeah,
and then you choose the location you will be able to go to and the date, right? And I should mention they're very strict, right? You need to make sure you're there on that date
yeah,
and you're on time and you have the correct documents. Please, guys, whatever you do, make sure you have the correct documents. You're there on time and you're there on that date. Because the other thing with a visa appointment, it's not always available.
yeah,
Sometimes you can get the next appointment in a month or whatever.
yeah.
Mm,
And I think they work till like 12 o'clock or
12
something like that.
o'clock, yeah, they have time, they have a
Yeah,
very short time limit that they work.
yeah,
So when you once you get that date, make sure you get there on time, you make that date and make sure you have all the documents that you need. I remember when so Tebogo chose to go to the one in Cape Town
yeah,
because I remember we were going to also travel to his hometown in Bloemfontein.
yeah.
Yeah, so we drove from PE to Cape
Cape
Town
Town.
and he went for his appointment.
Yeah.
And
Cape Town was had a earlier date
earlier
than
date, yeah, than
Pretoria,
Pretoria.
so that's why we decided to go.
Mm,
It would have been easier to go to Pretoria, but
mm,
Pretoria had a further date.
okay, yeah,
I think
that's
the
true.
date
Didn't
already
remember.
in March or something like that for
And you
Pretoria
already needed to be here in
in
March.
March. Yeah.
So, when he got there, that's how we found out about
ID
the
photos.
ID photos that
Yeah.
we mentioned earlier on that he had ID photos that he had taken in PE, but then they rejected them because they were not to the size that is required for the visa.
Yeah. There was
Um,
from some dodgy container.
ubaba lo ukubambisa board,
Yeah.
guys, economy data fire down. He literally puts a board behind you and you need to hold that board with your back uxhathise uyibambe so that uthathe picture. So most abantu bafote bethe. So yeah, anyways, basically Tebuku went to the one in Cape
Yeah,
Town
usually they use scissors to cut
to
the
cut
photos. So because they use scissors, the photos are not up to the
to
right standard.
size.
Yeah, so they have to be the right standard.
Mm,
So you have to use like a machine to cut the photos or something like
mm,
that.
mm. So I remember when we got there, he had to quickly run. Luckily, they were very lenient,
Yeah.
Shamias.
I think they've had a lot of experience with people coming with photos that are incorrect sizes. So they even have a little pamphlet or a little page
like a
with a
brochure,
map
whatever.
of
Oh
where to go
yeah,
if you wanna take that
take
photo.
pictures. Yeah, retake the
So yeah,
pictures.
you can just follow the map. So they gave me just that map that you can just follow and
Mm,
go and take a picture.
mm.
And yeah, those pictures were quite
Yo,
expensive.
I
They
think they
got
were 120 rand just for a
yeah,
set of five, ne?
yeah,
Or
something
something.
like that. Yeah,
Guys, Kapstad.
they're not those cheap ones like for 20 rand at
Ezi
some pictures.
zakababa was it down?
Yeah. So, anyways, that was that.
Yeah, so he took the pictures and then headed back. I remember we waited for him
Yeah,
at the embassy, and then he took the pictures, came back. At the embassy, it's not really like an interview or anything like that. They will just ask you random questions, ne? Or yeah, I think they
yeah,
ask random questions to see Uguti, do you know what is happening and like are you aware or like how much do you know about where you're going,
yeah,
or they just ask random questions, yeah, but not anything like serious or kaba it's like a serious appointment or whatever.
yeah,
But I think you just need to know in the bayako like who are you going to work for, where are you going to be staying, where are you going, Kubono, what is your reason for going to the Netherlands, who are you coming with, like just those random things. Yeah, bo. um so yeah, he did that, he was done, and then we left for Bloemfontein. So now, the thing about the visa appointment is that it gets approved. It can get approved very quickly, or it may take like a day or two, or even more.
7 days.
7 days.
That's what they say.
They say, yeah,
7 days just to kind of like safeguard themselves for let's say 7
Mm,
days, but then it can get approved within a day or two, and then
mm,
it changes
mm,
according to your situation.
it depends. It depends on your luck, if I can say.
Yeah,
So what happens with us? We decided to stay in Cape Town for a day, right? Was it
we stayed from Monday till Wednesday.
till Wednesday?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the appointment was on
was
Tuesday.
on Tuesday.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I remember we were on our way to Bloom. To
yeah,
cut a long story short, we were on our way to Bloom.
yeah.
Ne?
When they called.
When they called and they said the visa is ready for collection,
Yeah,
and we were like, "How these people?" And now we were already too far for us to like travel back to Cape
yeah.
Town,
I think we were like 2.5 hours out
away
of
from
Cape
Cape
Town. Yeah,
Town. Yeah. So we're like, no, it's fine. Luckily you were able to ask someone to collect it for you.
yeah,
Yeah. So you just need to, I think that person needs to sign a certain form.
yeah,
And then once they've signed that form, then they can collect the visa for you. Right.
yeah,
Right. It's basically a form that gives them approval to collect the visa.
yeah.
Right. So
You
Tebuko
you
asked
can
her,
you can
mm,
contact a courier company to do it for you.
mm,
But remember, with a courier company to collect documents like passports, IDs, visas, and all that, it's quite more expensive because they're
mm,
collecting sensitive information that if
nation,
they lose it, it's a big issue. It's not like
mm,
they're collecting your grocery or something
or
like that.
lotion or
Yeah,
whatever.
if they lose it, they can just refund you or something like that. But I mean,
Mm,
if they lose your passport, they
mm,
can't just easily refund you. So they're
mm.
collecting a very
A
sensitive
sensitive
document.
document.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so Tebuko asked his friend to collect it for him,
yeah.
and then we asked him to courier it from Cape Town to Bloemfontein, and then eventually it did arrive. Ne-
Yeah,
mm. So he got it, and then we started the preparations now for the final packing and booking of the flights,
yeah,
right? So with the flight ticket thing, firstly you need to decide like what airline you want to travel with, right? And I think most of the time the decision is influenced by the price.
yeah. Cheapest.
The cheapest.
Yeah, just go for the
To
cheapest.
go for the cheapest. Yeah, I think the price is the main influence of
Yeah,
what airline you're going to choose. But Debucho chose
Emirates.
Emirates, right, when he left. And things that you need to consider when you book the flights obviously is the price, number one. Number two, you need to decide if you want to book a direct or a connecting flight.
Yeah,
Mm. Direct is the longest, ne?
direct is the longest because
Mm.
you basically sit for a longer period in the
Period.
flight.
Mm.
Connecting is the longest in terms of like you will be on the road or the journey is
Is
longer.
longer,
Yeah,
but then you have a break in a
yeah, you
way
have a break.
because you stop somewhere and then you can at least get off the plane and
Yeah,
ululi
get
milenze,
some fresh
get
air.
some fresh air.
Yeah,
Yeah.
meet new people.
Menu.
Yeah,
Yeah. So basically the connecting one, you need to consider layover times.
yeah,
So for those of you who don't know, layover times is basically the time that you're going to spend at the airport where you're going to be waiting for your connecting flight.
yeah.
Mm. So Tebuko had a layover time of. Did you have a layover time?
Yeah,
Oh,
obviously.
you did. Oh, yeah, yeah,
I
you did.
couldn't,
I
I
forgot.
couldn't just jump off from one plane and get into another. That's even a layover of 30 seconds.
Sorry, I forgot
It
that
is
you
a
had a
layover.
layover time
The minute you get off from one flight and get into another,
into
it
another.
is a layover. Whether it's
Yeah.
1 minute or 2 minutes, it is a
Mm,
layover. But
mm,
I think with mine layover was like 2 hours something. Yeah, two
mm.
hour 30 minutes or
2
something
hours,
like that,
30 minutes.
or
Yeah.
probably like 3 hours. I would say, yeah,
Mm, mm. And you flew with Emirates, right?
yeah,
So he flew with Emirates and his layover was like 2 hours, 30 minutes or something like that.
yeah,
And then another thing that I should mention or we should mention is maybe it's not really important, but it could be something you need to consider is that wherever you're going to be connecting from or where the airport that you're going to be having your layover time at, you need to also consider the language spoken at the airport.
Yeah.
I think it's actually an important point
Yeah.
because if you choose a country or you're going to be at an airport where they barely speak English, or at least the
Yeah.
language you're going to be able to communicate with them in, it can be challenging for you. Because
Yeah.
remember, it's your first time. Okay, for us, it was our first time, right? Traveling abroad and, doing this whole thing. So you want to make sure that you are able to communicate with people. Like, should you not know what terminal to go to or how do you get there? Because
Yeah.
remember, that, like, international airports are huge, guys, compared
Mm.
to like domestic airports and whatever. So you need to consider that. I think it's an important factor.
Mm.
Luckily, not you were not at Doha, you were at Dubai.
Dubai. Yeah.
Dubai, they do speak English, right?
Yeah. They
Mm.
don't speak English on
Mm.
on a daily, but they
Mm.
can kind of like understand a bit of English. And I think the people that they hire at the airports, they try to say you should at least know a bit of English before we hire you. So they try
Mm.
to have some people, maybe people who are
Mm.
not doing jobs that are in the communicator section. Probably people who stay behind the computers in a
Mm.
certain room. Maybe they don't have to know English, but the
Mm.
people who are dealing with customers directly in
Mm.
terms of telephones or in terms of speaking to them face to face, I think they have
Mm.
to know a bit of
A
English.
bit of English, because not everyone speaks the native
Yeah,
language.
and funny enough, you do get some South Africans as well.
Who
Remember we
work
met?
there?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
met
we
once at
met
Qatar.
at Qatar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so you do get some South Africans as well working
Mm.
at Emirates
Mm.
or Qatar Airways. Yeah.
Mm. So then with us, with me and baby, we traveled via Qatar, right? And I did share, like, in terms of how I ended up choosing Qatar in my relocation vlog. So I chose Qatar, and we had a layover in Doha, which is also called, I think, Ahmed International Airport. Ahmed, I think it is called Ahmed. It is called Ahmed,
Mm.
Ahmed International Airport, and we had a layover of. No, we didn't have a layover. Remember?
Yeah, the minute you get off the flight, it's a layover.
Okay, but it was very short. Because
Was
remember, I
it?
was rushing to the
Was
next
it 10
flight.
minutes or 20 minutes? It is a
Yeah, I think
layover.
I literally had a layover of either, if I'm not mistaken, it could have been 30 minutes or an hour.
Probably an hour.
Mm.
I don't think they would give you a layover
Oh,
of 30
30
minutes.
minutes. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's unrealistic,
Yeah,
ne?
especially with an
It's
international
in a
flight
flight,
because
yeah.
you have to kind of like remember you have to kind of like submit your passport at Doha as well, show that
Mm.
you have a connecting ticket, show that you don't have a visa for staying
Mm.
in Doha, because at the
Mm.
end of the day you can just stay in the airport. You can't go out of the airport because you don't have a visa
A
for living in the
visa.
Emirates areas.
That's
So
true. That's
so
true.
you only have a visa for your end destination, so you can't leave the airport basically.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think that's the other point that I wrote down, but I'm not sure where I wrote it down up. Yes, visa needed for connecting flight. Yeah, so if you're gonna be leaving the airport, right? You're gonna need to have a visa, yalo
Yeah.
country okuyo, like the country that you're in, if you're gonna leave the airport. So when you do like have layover times and you need to travel to your final destination, you don't really need to have a visa for that
Yeah.
country if you're gonna be within the airport.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna step out of the airport, then you're gonna need a visa,
Yeah.
right? So, anyways, long story short, I traveled through Qatar, and I think my layover was like an hour. So I was rushing through that airport, guys. Ayunguli Airport, yes, Ahmed, guys. It has nothing on the Emirates one. It's
Yeah.
Ingulu, yes, Emirates.
Big.
Really, I've never
With
been to the one in
the train
Dubai.
station.
Even the one in
Oh.
Qatar has a train station, was a train inside that travels inside the airport. Remember, I told you I took the train, Galok. It has a
I can't
train.
remember, but we didn't take the train this time.
We didn't take the train the last time when we were
Yeah.
traveling to South Africa, but when I was traveling with baby, and Sanumdanam guys, ndambeleka, I put my baby on my back because remember, it's my first time here. I don't know where to go. I'm trying to figure out all of these things. Everything is huge. Everything is so far away. Gapa, I'm with a baby. I had to put him on my back. And I remember I was getting strange looks. But
Yeah.
remember, kaloku bamqhela ngomnyama, number one. Then number two, kufika umuntu omnyama obeleka umntana, they were like, "Hi, bo, what is this?" So I was just rushing through the airport, asking around, where do I go? Where do I go? Eventually, they showed me where my terminal was, and luckily, I got there on time, and the flight didn't leave me. But I was so tired. So yeah, basically, that's who we used to board. And then also, I should mention, before we got to Edoha, before we got to Edoha, when we were traveling, me and baby from Johannesburg, remember,
Yeah.
I experienced a bit of a traumatizing moment. Remember, they didn't want to let me through the, what are they called, Ganen? Like boarding security or whatever. Not,
Control.
I think it's passport control or and lilapel kamaqanda yazi ukuthi liphuncuka nje.
I'm saying passport controllers.
It's immigration control. Okay, anyways, it's either immigration control or passport control. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But the last people that you pass through before you go to the terminals, OR Tambo International Airport. So I was traveling with my baby, right? And remember, our baby has my surname, right?
Yeah.
So when I got there, they asked where my son's father is. So I told them that he's already relocated to the Netherlands and we are moving together as a family, but he's already there because he needed to start work early. And then they were like, no, you can't travel Nomdana, Wedwa, without him. But I was like, he's already there. And then they're like, no, we need authorization from him that allows you to travel with your child. I was like, how? They were like, yeah, the child can't just go awukwazi uhamba nomntana wedwa, yabo, without the father being there. If he's not there, he needs to give you an authorization letter that is allowing you to travel with the child. It was my first time hearing this. It was so traumatizing because they just wouldn't let me, guys, like pass through. And I almost missed my flight because of this. So they were adamant that no, I can't pass. They need to have a proof of letter. And I remember Tebuko that day or that night, because it was at night when we were boarding, he was on his way to go and fetch the rental car
Yeah.
that he was going to use to fetch us from the airport in Amsterdam, right?
Yeah.
So imagine, Gyunguk, he's already like far away from home, so he can't go home and create the letter. Ngapha, I'm at the airport. My flight is probably leaving in the next like 30 minutes or so, and they don't want to allow me to pass through. So this is a very important point that if you are not married, I think even if you are married, and if you're going to be traveling like with umtana, uyabaleka. Mm.
In the US.
In the US. So ufuna uhamba ukuthatha umntana une-anger kaloku uyibaby mama ne-anger ngoku ufuna uthatha umntana kuyoku ubaleke naye. So basically they explained to me like it's for human trafficking purposes also. That a lot of we all know the whole human trafficking syndicate and that a lot of people get trafficked easily and all of that. So they do it for those purposes and also the whole thing of to avoid people traveling with kids when the other parent is not aware about that. But eventually, guys, I think you didn't have to create it, ne?
I did create
You
it.
did create it,
Yeah,
but did you send? No,
I
they.
sent it. Then you went to you were about to print it. Then they said you can go.
Yeah, then they allowed me to go because I think my flight was almost going to leave. Because I think I was the last person that boarded that day. I remember. Guys, this journey, guys, this journey is not for the faint-hearted. I was speaking to a friend of mine earlier on, and oh, it's actually a lady that who's also coming to the Netherlands with her family. Remember, Lobenkenda Balelangai? And we were talking about how this journey is not for the faint-hearted because it's not an easy journey, guys. Like other people will probably easily give up and be like, you know what, in fact, it's fine. But you literally need to have faith. You need to be strong. You need to be but basically, you know. Anyway, so long story short, I ended up boarding and obviously we got to Doha. So this is the point that I just wanted to add on before we get to Doha, that you need to have an authorization letter if you're traveling with a child without the other parent. Then we're gonna go to the next point. The next point is the suitcase story.
Yeah.
Because this is also very important. So when you travel, guys, they allow you 2 times 23 kg.
Yeah, but you
Mm.
should just make sure when you book your flight
Mm.
that you are allowed to have a certain
A certain weight.
weight. Yeah,
Mm.
sometimes some flights might say just 1 kg, not 1 kg, but one suitcase, 23 kgs. Some might say 2 kg,
Two
suitcases,
suitcases, 23
23 kgs.
kgs. Mm.
Yeah,
It
so
depends on
depends
the,
on
I
that.
think, the flight that you
You
choose.
choose, yeah.
So you must just double check that. And if they say 2 times 23 kgs, guys, it's not 146 kg,
Yeah,
and it's not 126 kg and 120 kg.
yeah,
It's literally 2 times 23 kg. So one suitcase needs to weigh 23 kgs,
yeah.
or else you need to open up the suitcase, ukhuphe ama-norox nama-beefstock.
But
Eh?
it can weigh less than
It
23
can weigh
kgs.
less, but it can't weigh
Yeah,
more.
yeah,
It needs to be less or exactly
yeah,
23 kg. Yeah. And I was wondering why they do this. I think you made a valid point last time we
yeah.
spoke about it, that who's going to pick it up?
Yeah, nobody's gonna pick up your 46
The
kg.
46 kg. Yeah, bro.
That one suitcase that weighs 46
Mm,
kgs, those guys who work at the airport, they need to pick it up and maybe throw it. That's why our suitcases always
it
have
could get damaged.
broken wheels and all that. So they need to pick up that 46 kgs. So just
Mm,
think about it and trying to pick up the 46 kgs. That's why they limit it to 23 kgs because
mm,
that's what the guys who pick it up from the conveyor belts and all that. That's what they can actually pick up.
pick
Maybe
up,
break down a
yeah.
trolley or something. So
Mm,
they are allowed to only pick up to 23.
yeah, so it needs to be exactly 23 kgs or less,
Yes.
right? And I don't think we had an issue like with maybe having our luggage opened or stolen or stuff missing or anything like that.
Yeah.
No, I don't think we did. But I think we did wrap our luggage
Yeah.
in the with the, what do they call it, the
Plastic wrap.
plastic wrap,
Yeah.
right? So this is a very important point, because if your suitcase is more, you pay.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. You pay a lot of money, guys. So when I was traveling with baby, I came with suitcases that had a lot of toiletries also, because I decided to buy a lot of things that we needed, obviously, because it was our first time here. We didn't know where to get what, and things were expensive, right?
Yeah.
But secular phase, your convert. Come you roll on 100 rand.
Yeah.
Come you roll on 100 rand.
Yeah.
So we were still in that phase of converting the amounts, and everything just looked so expensive, right?
Yeah.
So Deborah was like, Muntu, you must come with toiletries, right? So I had a suitcase packed with toiletries and a lot of things. So I think two of my suitcases ended up being overweight.
Yeah.
And I had to pay for the one. Then the other one, my friend who was actually being pelezela to the airport, was like, yeah, 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 you're not gonna pay double, because I think I paid 1,000 and some odd for the one that was
Yeah.
extra weight,
I think Emirates is more
more
expensive
expensive.
when it
Yeah.
comes to that
Mm.
because what they do, I think they measure it when it's overweight, they measure it as a separate suitcase. So if you have
Mm.
24 kgs instead of 23, they kind of like measure it as you have two suitcases instead of one.
Instead of
Yeah,
one.
because I remember I paid something like 4,000 rands or something like that for my overweight suitcase.
You also had an overweight suitcase, Kanen. I remember at the
Yeah.
airport.
So I paid
Yeah,
something like
and you had
4,000,
to pay how much?
something like 4,000 rands or something. Yeah.
Jesus Christ of Nazareth. Sure.
It
I
was quite expensive.
remember. And we had to sit Zamuti Basba, Sizawuthatha kweli pikhadi, and how are we going to pay for it? Your guys. So it's very important to make sure that your suitcase is the right requirement in terms of the weight, or else you're going to be paying a hefty fine, right? And then the other thing that we should mention is the you need to also consider the exchange rates at the airport.
In terms of
In terms of look, if ever you're gonna have like a long layover and you need to buy like some snacks or food,
oh,
or if you want to buy some stuff at the airport, you need to consider the exchange rate. Yellow airport.
and I also think you need to consider the card that you're using.
I wrote it
Yeah,
down. Yeah, the bank cards.
yeah, the bank cards that you're
Because
using.
sometimes, as near
Yeah,
South African bank cards, they don't work like in
yeah.
other countries. So you need to investigate Tukuti, from your bank accounts or whatever, which one actually is going to be able to work. Like,
Especially now when keep check. You should just double check that kidney check. I'm not saying anything wrong, but just double check that kidney
yeah,
check.
I think Capitec doesn't really
Yeah,
work
because I think
abroad.
if your card doesn't have the
The
Visa
Visa
thing,
sign or whatever
logo,
logo on
yeah,
the card, then it
or
doesn't
what is
work.
it, the macro card or something like that?
Maestro or Maestro.
Maestro
I don't know
or
if it's
Mastercard or something like
Mastercard or
that.
whatever.
Yeah,
Mm,
then sometimes it doesn't
it
work.
doesn't
Yeah,
work. Yeah, so you need to consider those
yeah.
things. Mm.
For example, we have bank cards that we use in the Netherlands. They don't work in Doha.
In Doha.
So it's not that we dashing Capitec, but there's
Or
also
other banks from
yeah,
South Africa.
yeah, but there's also banks in the Netherlands which don't work
In other
in other
countries.
countries. I mean, I when I got here, I also had a bank that works in the Netherlands, but it doesn't work in Germany.
In Germany.
And that's quite weird that it doesn't even work in Germany, but it works in the
In
Netherlands.
the Netherlands,
So
yeah.
just make sure that you have a bank card.
That
Yeah,
works, yeah. So yeah, also consider the exchange rate.
yeah,
Make sure you have enough money. Like if you're gonna decide to buy food or snacks or spend, because you don't wanna be getting somewhere mhlawumbe ubeke i-1,000 nje yospenda. Mawufika pha idrink enye 600. Komba hayi bo. Because remember what happened with us in
yeah,
Qatar? Because when we were traveling to South Africa to go and visit, because we went to South Africa earlier this year, I
yeah,
think in February, for vacation, and we had a very long layover in Doha.
yeah.
I think it was like 6 hours
7 hours.
or 7 hours.
Yeah,
So we were stuck at the airport basically for like 6 or 7 hours. So obviously the only way you can go to Stuktes to eat,
yeah,
because we don't have money yabo Gucci, Libo LV and all those
yeah,
expensive and designer shops. Because
yeah. But even if you had, what's the
what's the
use?
use? Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true though. Because they mostly have like these designer shops at the airport.
yeah,
Yabo abanabo Mr. Price, nabo Mang Mang, where you can say hi. Out in the suitcase in your buka, yabo, and do some window shopping. So we also got a bit of a shock. I think KFC was like how much? How much did we
no,
spend
I'm
for
not sure.
KFC? I
I'm
think
not
we
sure.
spent close to 500 rand for
Yeah,
KFC.
500 rand.
Remember such time
Yeah,
KFC? I think we bought like a 3 piece and whatever.
sure.
Net
Can't
chips.
even remember honestly.
But it was so expensive, guys. So you need to
Yeah,
consider the exchange rate and make sure you know. But okay, if you have so much of money in rands, this is how much it's going to be. Like in Qatari Riyali, I think they
yeah,
call it, ne? Qatari Riyali or Qatari
yeah,
Riyal or something
something.
like that.
Yeah,
Exchange rate, yes, say Qatar. And then the other point is the booking. I think this is the last point. I'm not sure if I'm missing anything, but this, according to my notes,
the
this is the last
booking.
point. The booking of the rental car. Should you require one once you've landed in the at the airport or your final
What in
destination?
Netherlands?
Anyway,
Okay.
so I think you can share more about this because I'm not sure, like, if it was any specific things in terms of. Kalok, remember
Well,
you hadn't gotten your driver's license.
well, I booked with my South African one.
Mm,
You can still drive with your South
you
African
can
one.
driver's license, yeah.
Even if you're just visiting the Netherlands, you can drive
Mm,
for 6 months with your South African driver's
driver's
license.
license, yeah.
The only thing you should consider is that if the country that you're coming from doesn't speak English, then it's a problem.
Mm,
Because maybe your license is maybe in Chinese or
not Mandarin, so
Mandarin.
Mandarin, Mandarin,
Mandarin, yeah. If
Mandarin, yeah, I think
if you're
Mandarin. I don't
yeah,
know.
or if it's maybe in Spanish or something like that, then they won't actually kind of like accept it maybe.
Mm,
But if your license is in English, then you are able to drive for the next 6 months in the Netherlands. So I was still here for like what 3 months, 2 months when you guys arrived.
Yes, you got
Yeah.
here in February and we got here in May.
So it was still within
6
6 months.
months, yeah.
So I was still able to drive with my South African driver's license. It was a good thing that I didn't quickly try to exchange it because if I
Mm,
did try to exchange it, then I wouldn't have a license and they would
mm,
have arrived in.
during that period, yeah.
So it was a good thing that I still had my South African one. So I was able to
Mm,
drive myself.
mm.
You
Yeah, and
can, yeah, you can rent from any
a
company.
car rental
Yeah,
place,
they
yeah.
also have like Europa cars, I think.
Europa car, yeah,
Europa
which I think
car,
they have in South Africa, right?
yeah,
No,
Europa car,
Hertz,
Hertz as
Hertz. They
well.
also have Hertz here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah, they also have a lot of their own, which is much cheaper. So what happens is that it's quite cool. It's quite a cool thing,
Mm,
but it's quite safe for here. But I'm not sure if it's really safe in other countries.
mm,
So what happens is that you get a car just at a random parking lot. You get a car and you can just unlock it with your Bluetooth.
oh
So you
yeah.
book it through the app. You download an app,
Mm,
and then make the payments through the app. Then you say, I'll bring the car back in like the next 24 hours or something like that.
mm,
Then for the next 24 hours, basically the car is yours. Then they tell you, hey, the car is parked here. It can be a random place. It can be parked at Bay West. It can be parked at Maponya Mall. It can be
mm,
parked at
waterfront or
V&A,
whatever.
it can be
Anyway,
parked anywhere.
mm,
There's a random car that just is parked anywhere,
waiting.
waiting for somebody to come and book it and just
Mm,
take it for the next whatever hours or for whatever days.
mm,
So you can just do that and then you just go there. So basically, I went to this place and the car was just waiting there. Unlock it with my phone, and then I can start driving. The keys are inside the car. You can just unlock it with your phone, and then you start driving, and then you can return it after some time.
after some
Yeah.
time, yeah.
And also, just like with any rental cars, you can just extend the time. So they do send you a message or something like that. That hey,
Mm,
you have on your rental, you have maybe 3 hours left,
mm,
or maybe you have 30 minutes left. Do you want to extend it, or are you on the way to returning the car? So yeah,
mm,
you can just do that. Yeah.
mm. That's
So
interesting.
yeah, it's
Mm,
quite interesting.
interesting, yeah. There's a lot of interesting things, but we're going to be sharing it in this whole series of from Mzansi to Dachi.
Yeah.
We have a lot of other content that we have planned, a lot of information we're going to be giving you guys. And we're merely doing this to just help other South Africans who are going through this journey or who are planning to go through this journey, just to help them with all the information they need. Because remember, with us, no one really helped us in as much as
Yeah.
Debucho's recruitment company did assist us, but even the YouTube channels that we got on YouTube, they never really explained like the important things that we needed to know.
Yeah.
They were just it was just like surface level,
Yeah.
and just people explaining their experience, and mostly they were talking about the Dutch culture.
Yeah.
Yeah, mostly, but not like the in depth. But okay, this is what you need. These are the documents you need. This is where you need to go. This is where you'll find this. This is what you need to make sure you have. So this is the main reason why we've decided to do this series, and we just really hope that it will help someone. And if maybe this is not for you, and you know someone who actually is going to be moving to the Netherlands or is planning to move or would like to move, and they just want to know more information, then do share the video to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think also when you're traveling, just consider that you're traveling between two seasons.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
that's another important thing.
so
That's very important
leaving
actually.
leaving South Africa, coming
In
to the US,
summer,
you're living in summer, coming to the
do you
winter. So
winter?
just make sure that you have a jacket with you.
Because he's got a story to tell. That's
Yeah,
why he's mentioning this.
yeah. Just make sure because I
Mm,
left in February. It was summer in
it
South
was summer in
Africa.
South Africa, and remember,
Yeah,
Bloom was so hot.
yeah,
Kushushu was a Bloom.
yeah,
So when he left, bekushushu.
yeah,
Mayefika apha,
yeah.
yo ngingateka intwana
So
leather jacket
yeah.
ayikho.
So yeah, just make sure that you have the correct clothing, and all that. So don't leave South Africa with shorts and be like, it's summer was in South Africa, wearing
Mm,
shorts and then get here.
It's a different season, yeah. So just consider that. I was lucky because generally mna ndingumuntu oyoyika ingqele, and I don't like feeling cold.
But you left in the winter in South
No, it
Africa.
was actually
May,
not
May
winter.
is close to winter.
Yeah, it was autumn in South
Yeah.
Africa. They call it autumn. But probably they call it fall. But yeah, it was fall, and then it was actually a bit cold. That's true.
It was almost the first, it was basically the last month of autumn.
Of autumn, yeah, yeah. So when I got here, it was going
Hot,
into
yeah.
summer, yeah. So it wasn't cold, it wasn't really hot, but it was just moderate in between.
It was quite hot.
No, it wasn't really hot. It was warm.
Yeah.
It wasn't hot, but it was warm. Mm. So yeah, guys, these are basically the pointers that we wanted to share with you guys, and regarding the whole thing, Uguti, how did we immigrate, and how we got here, and what we needed. Yeah, we just basically hope it helps someone. And if you have any questions, please do reach out in the comment section. If there's anything, if you have been through this journey and there's anything you'd like to add on, maybe that we might have forgotten, for whoever needs this information, please do comment in the comment section and let us know if there's anything that we missed that you think is also important for a person to consider, right, through this journey. And yeah, as usual, we interact in the comment section. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up, a like, and don't forget to subscribe. Very important. And yeah, I guess we will meet you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Doei! Doei! Houdoe!
Tot straks.
Tot straks. Houdoe! Doei doei!
Dag, dag.
Dag dag! Thanks for watching, guys. Bye!